From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your Friday night. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, just 5 days into the 67th Montana legislative session, and already they're dealing with a positive case of COVID-19. Legislative leaders met today to discuss health guidelines and how to react after one of their members tests positive. But the 8-person panel did not come to a final agreement, and minority Democrats say they're still waiting for Republicans to come up with an actual plan. GOP leaders announced Thursday evening that Republican State Representative David Beatty of Hamilton has tested positive for COVID-19. They say he's asymptomatic and that he didn't get infected in Helena. They've also contacted those who may have had contact with Beatty this week at the Capitol and asked them to work remotely for now. But at a meeting of top leaders today, minority Democrats say there's still no overall plan for how to react to infections or for public or lawmaker health protocols during the session. Republican leaders say they've taken some steps, such as recommending masks and social distancing, and created the panel, which met for the first time today. But House Democratic leader Kim Abbott says a concrete plan is needed now, prompting Republican Senator Jason Ellsworth to respond.
We have wanted to see a clear plan with clear expectations for everyone that does business in this building, for our local community and for our local economy, and we haven't had it. I'm hoping that we come up with it today.
We're all here for a common cause, so we can have disagreements. At the end of the day, it's about coming together and finding common ground for the people of Montana, for our legislators, and for our staff. So I just want to keep us on that track, as I'm sure you do too.
Now, the panel agreed to talk over the weekend and meet again next Tuesday to discuss possible plans. Well, a bill designed to protect businesses from COVID-19 related liability and lead to the lifting of a statewide face mask mandate had its first hearing today. Now, that bill, supported by Republican Governor Greg Gianforte, is part of his proposed new approach to slowing the spread of COVID-19 across Montana. The bill says if people or businesses follow government health guidelines, they will not be liable for damages from anything related to COVID-19. The bill's sponsor, Republican State Senator Steve Fitzpatrick of Great Falls, says it gives clear directions to businesses so they can fully reopen. Governor Gianforte said Friday that the bill incentivizes business owners to take personal responsibility and promote actions that advance public health. He's also said if the bill passes, a statewide mask mandate could be lifted because businesses would then take those precautions anyway to shield themselves from liability. The head of the Montana Trial Lawyers says the change is not needed and really does nothing to protect public health. Yet, a long list of business lobbyists, including the Chamber of Commerce, support the bill.
Much like it has been for almost all of us, COVID-19 has been a minefield of uncertainty for businesses. And we believe that Senate Bill 65 is a needed metal detector for said minefield, a way for responsible business owners to re-engage their communities without the threat of being sued in their pursuit to survive.
This bill just provides unnecessary immunity restricting or denying the rights of injured Montanans. And it does absolutely nothing to improve the health and safety of our communities.
And the committee will act later on the bill. Well, just one day after Yellowstone County Health Officer John Felton dropped all local COVID-19 health orders, deferring that responsibility back to Governor Greg Gianforte and the state, we thought we'd try to clarify what's changed and how they might impact you. Now, it means everything stands from former Governor Steve Bullock's Phase 2 directive last May. So the mask mandate is still in effect. Restaurants, bars, and casinos must still close at 10 p.m. and must limit capacity to 50%. All other retail businesses, such as gas stations and movie theaters, can now stay open past 10. Gyms can stay open later, but must adhere to social distancing and 75% capacity. Houses of worship and other places of assembly should practice social distancing and virtual services, but group sizes are not limited. And now nursing homes may allow visitors who comply with safety conditions. And to clarify, local health authorities and individual businesses may order more restrictive rules. Well, today, state health authorities report 10 more COVID-19 related deaths across Montana, 4 of those in Flathead County, 2 of the victims from Fergus County, and 1 death from each Yellowstone Valley, Lake, and Lewis and Clark counties. The statewide total is now 1,052 deaths. So far, more than 79,000 Montanans have recovered. Well, the recent decline in case numbers has also meant good news at local hospitals, where people have been very stretched thin at the pandemic's peak. St. Vincent Healthcare reports this afternoon that the hospital currently has 31 COVID-19 patients, with 7 in the intensive care unit. That is a considerable drop from where numbers were just a month ago. The hospital is operating at 82% capacity, with the ICU at just over 50% full. Well, some Republican lawmakers are joining calls for President Trump to step down or be removed from office before his term expires. This following the president's response to the attack on the Capitol yesterday and his continued insistence that the election was rigged. Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski is quoted in the Anchorage Daily News. "I want him to resign. I want him out. He has caused enough damage." And yesterday, Republican Representative Adam Kinzinger of Illinois became the first GOP lawmaker to call for invoking the 25th to remove the president, calling him unfit and unwell. Montana Congressman Republican Matt Rosendale said on Twitter, "I oppose impeachment as well as other methods of denying President Trump his lawful term in office. Efforts to impeach or remove the president are media stunts drawn from the left-wing fever dreams." January 20th will mark the transfer of power to President-elect Biden. Well, today, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the House is prepared to move ahead with impeachment if President Trump doesn't resign. Also, late today, Twitter announced it has permanently suspended Trump's account due to the risk of further inciting violence. Over in Missoula, the county is renaming local landmarks in honor of the native tribes that have and still do inhabit the land. Well, yesterday, county commissioners voted to change the name of a major housing development project in West Missoula to Sutupkane. MTN's Katie Miller finds out why this gesture is so meaningful.
Names are critically important.
Spokesman for the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes, Robert McDonald, says he was pleasantly surprised when Missoula County officials asked for their input on renaming the Mullen Area Master Plan, now called Sutupkane, and the Higgins Avenue Bridge.
This was our home. We have lists and lists of names in our languages of the place. We have stories about geographical places there. Look, we all know the history is not the easiest history sometimes, but here we are today.
Commissioner STROHMAIER says this small gesture is long overdue.
We're not, I think, recognizing the depth and importance that other cultures and other peoples have played in this community, in this place over time.
Still, to this day, borders for Missoula County and the Flathead Indian Reservation overlap in some areas.
As such, it's important to maintain and strengthen those relationships with this sovereign nation in our midst.
Over the past couple of years, the Missoula County Commissioners renamed their meeting room after Sophie Moise, a Salish tribal leader, and hung up the CSKT flag in the room.
When a government says, let's see how we can do things better and acknowledge the fullness and the wholeness and the complexity of the history, and then reach out to us in an effort to help do that, what a wonderful thing.
McDonald says he looks forward to continuing work like this with the county in the future.
Possibilities. If we can do this, what can we do next?
In Missoula, Katie Miller, MTN News.
Thanks, Katie. Up next on tonight's MTN 530 News here on Q2, time to travel from a Lewistown ranch to outer space. We catch up with a Montana astronaut right after this. And in sports, we'll head to the mats where Montana wrestling season is underway.
The way the weekend starts isn't necessarily the way the weekend ends, as we'll start with still some periods of snow. We'll show you where in a couple of minutes, but as the winds increase, so do the temperatures. Details in just a little while.